So recently I started running a brand new D&D game over in Somerset at a place called Retro Lotus. And one of my sort of favorite things about running games for groups of people is the sort of community improv aspect of it. And one of the other things that I've noticed in terms of the games I run, particular one I run at the Pride Center, so that's unexpected. But also this one, I have a lot of sort of queer and trans folk who come out to these games, and again, it's because it sort of gives people a more sense of community. And I always sort of feel good about running games for people like this, people who might not have a sort of a stronger sense of connection to other people, who need this sort of outside connection. And because of this, and because of the sort of connection I have with a lot of sort of queer and trans people, I always feel bad when I sort of read about all the sort of things that are being done, especially around all these sort of laws that are being implemented in all these states and such. And my mind always goes back to the fact that this does not have to be the way it is, and a lot of it happens this way because of people who have sort of power and authority on the sort of liberal left Democrat side didn't put in the work to try and prevent a lot of this from occurring. And I'm not just talking about putting in the work in terms of like trying to actively stop the bills. I'm talking about putting in the work in terms of changing public opinion, because at the end of the day, Republicans didn't have this sort of incredibly negative opinion on trans people even when I was so young in the early 2000s, even when they were very transphobic, of course, but they weren't actively trying to pass laws to try and stop things. Like you would have individual people who obviously were like hate crime people and all of that stuff. That's nothing to sort of get away from, but it wasn't the mainstream sort of opinion on the right. And that happened because of the fact that people on the right worked hard to make that the mainstream opinion. And the fact that people on the left aren't really working that hard at high levels. Like at the lower levels and the individual level, people are doing it, but at the level where who can actually make the sort of differences, because it does take people who have some level of authority to say, hey, this is not what we do here. And people will just respect that because appeals to authority work. Like a lot of times you think that they shouldn't work, but they do. And those are my thoughts. Bye.